WFNU is a volunteer run station made up of different community voices. Each program expresses one aspect of that diversity and not the views of WFNU or Frogtown tuned in as a whole.
And welcome to the Rise Up Hour. This is Mahana Kakish on this wonderful Sunday. Today is February 6th, and before I start the show, I just want to take a moment and first of all, we have a great author, Steve Kine, with us today. But this is my show, and it's the Rise Up Hour, and today I get to take a moment to talk about my brother-in-law. He passed away yesterday. He was 55 years old, and let me tell you, I'm in my long-term recovery, and he and I partied. We had fun, but the interesting part about Chico, his name is Charles Mays, 55 years old. He always respected me for who I was, no matter what. And he was married to my sister, Sue Mays, and he had his kids, and let me tell you, Anthony, Bree, Charles, and Jocelyn leaves 10 grandkids behind, a brother, his brother behind, and that's Jason, and then his mother, which is Kathy Freeman, who was, I just know you guys are all hurting out there and suffering, because, a joy. These past years with the diabetes and everything, it was really hard on him. He moved to South Dakota. It could be North Dakota, but I know it's South Dakota, I'm pretty sure, by Iowa, if that's right. But I'm just going to say a couple short stories. Chico, you're up walking with my brother Isa. I know you guys are having a blast now. You're back together. But we had some really fun times. And I'm going to say something. What a darn good father you are. You gave your kids good times. You were stable. And the other thing is, when I last time seen you, we got to talk about things, but you know what we did? We kicked back and we talked and laughed about old times. Didn't care about anything else that was going on because we didn't care about the anxieties around us or anything else. You just sat back and said, hey, how's it really going, Mahana? And I said, hey, how's it really going, Chico? And that's all that really mattered. No matter what this side or that side was saying. And then I'm going to also say something else. You're my brother-in-law. You will always be my brother-in-law. And whatever they say or anyone said, no, it was not your fault. It is not your fault, however things worked out. It takes two. And you know what? I respect you. I love you. And hey, you're going to be missed. And you know what? In my recovery, I get to come and see you. And boy, I get to take a couple phantom shots with your kids and your friends. And I get to tell them a couple of the secrets you told me. If you die, I get to share those things. But hey, I got to take my moment, say this, I love you. Hey, you guys, just remember, life is too short. Make sure you let the people you love them. And as a certified peer support specialist, when we talk about mental wellness, Chico, you did all the things you could. And Jocelyn turned out beautiful. Bree turned out beautiful. Charles turned out beautiful. Anthony turned out beautiful. And you know what? All those grandkids are gorgeous little grandkids, let me tell you. And they're growing up so beautifully. And you know what? And your mother, Kathy, you did so well. Taught them well. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And Sue, you've done well with the kids. You've done your best. And I love you for that. And you know what, you guys? He doesn't have to suffer anymore, and he's free to be with Charles, his dad, too. So you guys, love you. I'll see you guys in the next couple of days. Let me know what's going on. I'm reaching out to give you big hugs. Lots of people are praying for you. And now it's to start up the Rise Up Hour. And I just want to say, you guys, lots of hugs and lots of hugs and lots of hugs. And you know what? Hell yeah, Chico, I did this for you. Because you say, Mahana, would you really do that? Because you always say, how is that possible you do that? Well, I'm doing it on the Rise Up Hour just for you. Mahana did it again for you, Chico. So, and today on the Rise Up Hour, I have Steve Kine as my guest. And I'll make some quick announcements. Remember, everyone, this is the Rise Up Hour, and we're here every Sunday. And we have author of Steve Kine of Inspirational Dissatisfaction, and his wife Sue is here today. And we are going to be talking about his book and his recovery and his journey. But first, we're going to talk about Recovery Cafe Frogtown is open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 3. And at 1 o'clock, they have their peer circles, and that is from you become a member. It's at no cost to you. And when you become a member, if you need a recovery coach, you can get that at no cost to you. You can make $1 million or zero. If you also need an all recovery meeting Monday through Friday, actually Monday through Saturday, you can go to MRC from, they have it on Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. And you can go to the website, just go to meetings, click on join meeting, and they're all recovery. Saturdays an 11 o'clock meeting. And it's a great place for all to go to, because you know what? If you're struggling, dealing with something, or just need a place to talk to, that's great. And then there's another service I want to mention. If you need a weekly call because you're out there struggling and you don't know what's going on, and you just need a reminder because you get lost in the week, they have it's called a TSR call. You can request a phone call. They'll call you weekly just to check how you're doing on recovery in general. They'll ask you if you need some support services. It's a great way to take a moment and have yourself checked out. And I've done that volunteer work. You know what's great about it? I call individuals. They're doing great in their journey. Sometimes they just need to have that reminder, or just say, hey, you know what? I'd like this call, and I'm doing great. And sometimes they need a service, and sometimes not. But it just keeps them on the path of recovery and just reminds them that they're doing all right. Or, hey, I think I need to go to a meeting. Thanks for reminding me. It's one of those things, because you get lost in your work and you get lost in all these things. And so now, and then if you need free clothing on Thursdays at Faith Lutheran Church on 499 Charles Street, where Recovery Cafe is, from 12 to 2, they have free clothing, and they have baked goods and free frozen meals from the Sheriff's Department. And just go down there, and it's a great place if you're starting out, need something. And that's every Thursday from 12 to 2. And by appointments only, you can call there, and they will also set up an appointment for you to get free clothing. Now we're going to talk with our guest. Hey, Steve, why don't you say hi real quickly?
Hello, everybody.
So, so I met Steve Kine, actually, I believe, at a Smart Recovery meeting.
I think we met at an all recovery meeting,
yes,
and then you came to my Smart
yes,
Recovery
because you
meeting.
came to my all recovery meeting.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
And then I went to yours because that, and that was MRC's all recovery meeting.
Yep.
So it's a small world, and so. And what I liked about you is there's something about you that I liked that something that went to your meeting somehow, because there must have been something, because we caught on to each other. And I just gotta tell you, I was reading your book, and why don't you talk a little about what inspired you to be a book writer? And I'm going to quickly say something. I read something in there that you don't have a 4-year degree or any of that, and you're, I'm going to tell you this. You don't need a 4-year degree to write, because you are an incredible writer. And don't ever question yourself on that, because I'm going to tell you, I've read books and I've read other books, and your book is darn good, and you put emotion into it, and that's what's important, Steve. So let's start out with what compelled you to write this book, and why did you come up with Inspirational Dissatisfaction, and just kind of come up with a little bit about yourself. And then after that, we're going to go into a song, and then we're going to go from there, and then maybe we'll have your wife talk a little bit about you. And then we're just going to continue talking about your book, Smart Recovery, and some of these other things that are inspirational.
Okay. What inspired me to write the book was I had several years where I was pretty much directionless. I didn't really know where I was going with my life until I got a second DUI in 2 years, and then I had some choices to make. And the big piece of that choice was, do I want to continue to be married? Do I want to release myself from all the legal entanglements? or do I want to just keep going down this road and consider it? It was basically a dead end that I was heading to. But what inspired me to actually write it, besides the pandemic giving me plenty of time to do it, was the stories that I had heard from other people. And many of the people that I had worked with in Smart Recovery and in All Recovery and in every other place that I had been, I had heard, if you can do it, I can do it. And so as somebody who's gone through the academy and learned the skills to be a CPRS, the main thing about that job is having your story and sharing your story with others. So I decided I was going to put mine on paper. But originally, before I even got to the academy,
The Recovery Coach Academy, right?
the Recovery Coach Academy, I had a suggestion from one of the other people that had gone through that, and they said, before you go into the academy, write a letter to somebody that you trust and tell them why you're doing this. Tell them a little bit about what is inspiring you to do this. So I reached out to my brother Arn, he's my oldest brother. And I honestly didn't even know if I would ever send the letter. I just thought, you know what? I've written letters, and the 4 times I've been in treatment, I've written letters that I've never mailed. But I thought, well, I'm going to give this one a shot and kind of tell Arn, whether I sent it or not, tell him why I'm doing all of this. And I decided at some point I was crazy enough to hit the send button, and I sent it to my brother. And to my surprise, he called me back and he talked about how I wrote well. And he suggested that I write a book. So really, if I got to give credit to one person outside of myself, it would be my brother Arn for encouraging me to do it. That, or my oldest daughter Cassie has been trying to get me to write a book for years. So I've kind of had a lot of inspiration in that direction. But the title, Inspirational Dissatisfaction, really came to me from 2 different places. Kind of an odd combination of words, inspirational dissatisfaction. It's usually satisfaction or just inspiration, but I was so dissatisfied with where my life was going. And I had to make that change. And I was inspired to that change through good or through bad. I was inspired by the bad things I didn't want to see continuing. So that was my inspirational piece of that. My dissatisfaction inspired me to go in a different direction. The other part of that title was I had tried to get sober several times before. And I had tried different pathways, and none of them were working for me. And part of that was I don't think I was ready for it. But part of it was that the programs that I was working with were just not gelling with me. And so I had to go a different direction. So the other piece of inspirational dissatisfaction was programs that weren't working for me personally. So that inspired me to find something a little different, and that eventually got me to Smart Recovery.
And so one of the questions I have on that, first of all, listeners, if you have any questions, by the way, you can call in 651-313-5125, and I have Britt sitting right next to me, so we can take a call live on air. So now we know when the red button flashes, that means someone's calling in and saying you thinking it has to be a ringtone. And also, you can text in questions at 763-843-4262. Again, listeners, 763-843-4262. And by the way, just so I could mention this, you can get inspirational dissatisfaction at Barnes and Nobles, or you can also go to Amazon. Go to Amazon and look at it there. I know that it's available at both places, and so just go ahead and look it up. It's great reading, and you can get it on Nook too, electronically. But it's just available in all ways, so it's great that way. And it's gotten a 5-star rating, by the way, so it looks like it's doing great. I've read different parts of it and had some fun reading, and I gotta say, it takes you up and down. So when I first met you and knowing you, this book does not seem. When I was reading it, at first, I'm gonna be honest, I thought I got the wrong book. Because the person I know now, and this is the amazing part about recovery. So I'm going to go into a little part that's interesting. And I'm going to ask your wife a question real quickly. In this recovery journey, how has it been for you to deal with Steve's new, who he is in recovery? How do you like Steve in recovery? It's different because you've had all these years of trauma.
Yeah, it is. It's different, but it's great.
It's great. And so, have you enjoyed the journey? Have you enjoyed being side by side with him in this journey? How has it felt for you to? It must be. Has it been a relief? Has it been an excitement? And for the kids, has this been for recovery overall? Has this been really healthy for the family? Because often we don't have a family member who talks about how healthy it has been. Is that okay? I'm picking on your
Yeah,
wife.
that's
Steve.
fine. I rarely get a chance to have somebody else pick on her.
So
It's been an interesting but difficult journey. After his second DUI, even though I loved him, I said, if this is a road you want to go down, I won't go there. That was really hard to do because he's the love of my life.
it takes courage.
Yep. And his kids are really proud of him and glad to see him on the right path now and us really gelling now.
Yeah, and so you did the hard thing, but look what your love did. He's in recovery. He's made the choice, what he wanted, and
Right.
you are the one he wanted.
Yes.
So that's the beautiful part about the journey. So I
Yes.
just want to say thank you for being there for him and support him, because oftentimes there isn't that support.
Right.
And so it's beautiful to see that, and you
Right.
got to.
Welcome.
And you got to let him got to continue writing. So I just want to say thank you. Oftentimes, the person that is with you is sometimes missing the process. And she drove down from Mankato. You guys drove all the way from
Yeah,
Mankato.
right.
Slippery morning. So just thank you for taking the time to come here and being a support. And I just see that you smile
Thank
and
you.
you're
Thank
happy
you.
to be here. Yeah. Thank you, Sue. So Steve, so going into the book, I just want to ask you, you did some crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's the nicest way I've ever had anybody say it.
So you actually were fairly involved in drugs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, so I paint a picture of Steve right now. He does smart recovery, does all these things, but you were heavily involved, and you got a couple DUIs, but you were actually heavily involved, and so you were. I guess the word is you could have been in a lot of trouble.
Oh, I could not be here
You could
today.
be in jail. You could be in prison.
I could be in jail or dead.
Yes.
One of the chapters talks about my run-in with a man named Fats out in California. He literally told me he was going to gut me with a knife because I didn't want to run meth back from California. Pot was my thing. I was transporting marijuana, and he wanted me to increase my revenue by hauling methamphetamine back to Mankato, and I wasn't going to do that. That was just one of the very, very dangerous pieces. I've been pulled over by law enforcement with several pounds in my back seat, and luckily got released from the side of the road. The time I talk about in Nevada, I was actually pulled over by a sheriff's vehicle with a dog in their vehicle. So if he would have gotten the dog out, I was toast. But I did do a lot of preparation. I would find a convention in Reno that was letting out about the time I would be leaving that area. I would create laminated passes, and I used to work for a promotional company. So I had all these hats and t-shirts and everything else in my backseat, making it look like I was at conventions. And I was able to use that when I got pulled over. They asked me where I stayed. I told them I stayed at the La Quinta. And he says, well, you're talking about the one down by the car wash. I said, no. I said, that one's under construction right now. I'm actually staying at the one down by the airport, but the other one is where I normally stay. So I had my verse ready to go.
Oh, so you were
When
really.
I got pulled over, and I was always wearing my suit as though I had just left the convention. And I mean, I didn't, I knew that prison would be where the mistake would lead if I wasn't on my toes. So I did a lot of preparation before I went, but it is still amazing that I
A lot of
didn't end
energy.
up dead or imprisoned.
And a lot of energy you put into that.
A lot of energy.
Just imagine. And so I got a question from a listener, by the way. Okay. So Emily says, "Hi, my name is Emily. I have a question for Steve. What advice do you give someone early in their recovery or pondering recovery?"
First of all, find what fits you. There are all kinds of directions to go with recovery. One thing that you can do is reach out to those that have been through it, because you're going to find that some combination of different ways of getting sober may help. And the highest success rates come from those who seek out multiple pathways to sobriety, whether that's a counselor and smart recovery, or AA and a counselor, or AA. We have several
Recovery
people
coach?
in our group. Yes, a recovery coach. I've heard of those. We have several in our group that do both AA and smart recovery, as a Muhana, you did as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the biggest thing is to find where you're comfortable. You're going to be uncomfortable with the actual pulling away from the addiction, but it's good to at least find your community and find your support and find a direction that you can get behind. So I would say, don't just jump at the first form of recovery that comes in front of you. Do some research and find the recovery that fits you.
And then another thing that I've learned that when someone's in early recovery and they don't know what they're doing, because there's so much to go through, a recovery coach is free.
Yeah.
And so it does not cost. And you can still get a sponsor, you can still go to AA, you can do smart recovery. And what's unique about that, just to want to mention you guys, is that I've heard, so someone I know has done that, it helped guide them to just other options and finding out about, oh, hey, there was smart recovery, because the people know smart recovery but don't know it's big here in the city.
Yep.
And it's coming, it's gaining ground here, but I've noticed it's more in the rural areas a lot, and it's starting to gain ground because now I've learned about it in some other books and some trainings, but and I learned about some other recovery organizations.
Sure.
But and all recovery is newer too, and that's gaining ground. But AA is a great it's a great startup. Some people aren't ready for the 12-step program, and then getting there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting a counselor. Let me tell you.
No.
That's an amazing thing. But just trying something in early recovery and finding peers. Peers are great to be around that support recovery. And surprisingly, recovery is the new word out there. It's the new catchy phrase. I was at an AA meeting last night, listening to someone speak bridge, but I heard, what was the amazing part? This meeting was so great because you know what? I got to hear so many people say they're in recovery.
Yeah.
It was not an addict, it was not an alcoholic, it was recovery. And that is like a paradigm shift.
With pride.
With pride.
With
With
pride.
pride.
And
And
it used to be a shameful statement.
And,
Now
and,
it is
and
a
I didn't
great-
see no one scoffle at that, saying you're not saying you're an alcoholic, you're an addict or anything, or not one look or weird look. And that is what is incredible about the transformation that's happening. Because it's okay to be that way. Because before you get scoffed, like, why are you saying that? You have to say, no, you don't have to, because you're in recovery, accept the person for who they are. And as long as they're at a meeting and they're doing that, that's what's important. So,
Absolutely.
so with that being said, we're going to go to the first song. What is that song? Ooh,
Evil
Pop
Oh.
Evil.
Survivor.
Okay.
I made sure that's first.
Okay, so we are going to start with Pop Evil Survivor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's going to start playing that. Ooh. Oh, she went right into it. And there we go. We're going to turn off the mics.
I love
Let's
this
see
song.
if this will reach.
I was going to say, can we hear it in here?
We
No.
should.
You hear it in here.
There you go.
Okay.
You ever heard the lyrics in this song?
No, I'm listening right now. Oh, we can turn up a little volume. So what is your phone volume on?
Hold on, check. It's pretty loud. Oh, I see. Hard.
Are you guys any questions or something?
Our younger daughter
Yeah?
said I'm nervous, and that's what she said back.
You're all killing it.
Aw.
I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna say anything. I might, but I don't know.
Let's give you a
Just
moment
gonna
inside
play
the
it by
stu-
ear.
If we could, I'd like to make that announcement about Ride,
Yes, yes,
because that correlates with the family support.
yes, yes. Good.
Yeah, I consider this my theme song because it's about getting other people in recovery to ride with me. And
So then what we'll do is from this part, I'll come back on. I'll say any questions, call in. Then why don't we go into Thrive?
You want to, or we can save it for the end?
Okay,
Just to keep this going.
yeah, we'll keep this going, and then we'll go into okay, great. Then we'll go into what part do you want to go into? Because we have. So we'll go into that, talk a little bit more, play another song because we got 5 songs.
So like the next time you go into a song, we can do back-to-back songs.
Okay, yep. And we're gonna ask you what the song means to you. You're doing great. You're killing it.
we're killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just ask it. Or excuse me, Dwella. Neither of my daughters goes by the names we gave them.
You're not kidding.
Well, actually, my oldest daughter, Cassie, her middle name is Violet.
And Steve, just
She
in
goes
case,
by Violet.
Aww.
But my youngest daughter, Allie, is now Dwella.
I forgot to tell you, these are the words you cannot use on her.
There's no
Read the bottom
cussing.
and flip it.
You think he's good.
What? Because this booker doesn't. cuss.
Well, you know about my tattoo, right?
no.
Oh, dude.
Let's not talk about it, Justin.
I don't even know if I can get to it.
He's not 70 pounds, by the way.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to be able to get at it, but it's George Carlin, actually.
Oh yeah.
7 words you can't say.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. You're okay. I
It
got
says under it too.
Yeah, under it says, when you're born, you get a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you get a front row seat.
It's okay. I'll fade the music out.
How cool.
Put your mics right away.
Now, how are you doing today? I love your pink.
Yes, I'm giving Pink Cloud a little shout out
Yes. Woo!
without saying anything.
So how you had a nice lunch with, or breakfast with Wendy King?
What's that? Yeah, oh yeah. We went to French Meadow.
Okay, cool.
Good food.
She's
A lot of
amazing.
food.
Yeah.
She's truly amazing.
Okay, mics are back on.
That's what a great song that is. And so, hey Steve, what is this all about? Tell me about this uppity, nice beat, and why did you pick this song? Different music here. I love
I'm
that
a
for our
survivor.
viewers.
Come ride with me. That's it. I kind of look at it as more or less a theme song for pushing smart recovery and getting it into our community and letting people know that I've got their back.
Yeah, and then so I'm gonna go into this. Any questions out there? Here's the number. Call in studio number is 651-313-5125. That's 651-313-5125. And then if you want to send a text and ask questions that way, 763-843-4262. That's 763-843-4262. And now we're going to continue talking about your book. It took you a while to write this book, right, Steve?
Oh yeah.
And let me ask you this. So when you were writing some of this, like the paradigm shift and some of your other areas, you got really into some details. And some of this you couldn't help. 'Cause I'm reading it, and you went into detail. And like I was going on, it was like a roller coaster. I was going on the ride with you. And so when people when you get this book, listeners, it's good reading, and what it's going to cause you to do is like want to keep reading, finding out why this is going on, and it's intense because when you look at the back of when you're reading about Steve, you just hear this read this part about motivational and talking a little bit about family and sanity, and then you start reading, you're going, wow, yeah, family sanity for sure, because you put a lot of energy into how you functioned, but then you were drinking a lot.
Oh yeah.
And that was like your your other part, because you ended up with 2 DUIs, you were starting to function at a different level. And so, when did you start your recovery?
Let's see, 1983, it just didn't take. I mean, it's been a while. I've been through 4 stints in recovery. For this one, it was 3.5 years ago. And my last drink was June 8th. Well, what year would that be? 2008? Yeah, 2018. That was when I got my DUI.
And what worked this time? So what is so different about all of this time?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a very forward-thinking counselor when I went. I went into outpatient treatment, and I was honestly, I had been through 12-step several times. I know a lot of people for whom that was the perfect key for their sobriety. For me, it wasn't working, so I had to find something else. And I decided to be very open and honest with my counselor before I even got in the class. I wanted to make her into treatment. I wanted to make sure that she understood that I wanted to look at something else. I didn't even know what that something was. And she was the one that suggested that I take a look at Smart Recovery, and she didn't even know. She had no idea what Smart Recovery was about. She just knew it was an alternative and something else that I could take a look at. And I latched onto it right away. One of the things that they do in Smart Recovery is as juvenile as it may sound, you do a cost-benefit analysis of your addiction. You talk about what was good about your addiction. And you know, when I first heard what was good about your addiction, the first thing that comes through my mind is nothing. Nothing's good about my addiction, but that's not true. The escape, the relaxed feeling, the circle of, whether air quotes, friends that you may have.
Because that's why that's why you're
you
doing
didn't
the
do it
addiction.
because it was not fun.
Yes, there's some things that happen. So I'm hearing something different. So those of you who are listening, because there are people who don't want the 12-step. Let's be honest.
Sure.
And as a certified peer support specialist, and as a certified support specialist, you don't just say you got to do AA or you got to do that. You give options.
Yep.
And here's an option because you're doing analysis, and you're saying what do you like about your addiction. So continue on that.
Okay. The next step of that cost-benefit analysis is what is bad about your addiction. What are the costs of that addiction? Of course, then you're going through the legal costs, the possible loss of your family, including your spouse. It becomes a very, very long list. The thing I really like about it, they actually have 2 more. They talk about the costs of not using and the benefits of not using. So you get all of this into this quad, and then you go back through them and you label each one with whether they are a short-term thing or whether they're a long-term thing. Well, you come to a real black and white concrete decision that you are taking short-term pleasure and giving up long-term goals, long-term benefits. So you're really cashing in all of your long-term benefits for these short-term pieces, and that struck a chord with me. And my counselor was smart enough that she said, you know what? The treatment that I went into was 12-step, but she knew that I was very well versed in 12-step, and she encouraged me to not only take and start following some of these SMART courses, but to share it with the group. And so she was open to bringing that into another group. And to this day, I love anything that encourages multiple pathways. I just think it is such a successful way to get there. There are some people for whom AA is absolutely the right fit. But even with that perfect fit, there may be something you can learn from another direction. I take some of those SMART philosophies and I hear some AA philosophies in there as well. Because part of it is forgiving yourself and getting forgiveness for some of the things that you've done in your past. Well, what is your amends list in the 12 steps? I mean, there are a lot of similarities. One is based in science, one is a little more theological, but they all are trying to get to the right end.
Yes, recovery. All of them are coming up with
Absolutely.
recovery. Truthfully, when you look, that's why this Rise Up Hours supports all pathways.
Yeah.
And one of the things I find that's really important for us to really learn, focus on, and support, no matter what that looks like to someone, you know, and I'm working on this theory and this different idea, this notion that we're going fishing. In lakes, you got different depths, or I'm looking at the Great Lakes of Recovery. There's the re-entry lake, and there's a lake of recovery, and there's a lake of mental wellness, okay? And when you go fishing, you use different lures, and you gotta go different lengths, and you got tackle boxes, it's got different things, so what you pull out to use, and we all fish differently too, so we could be in the same exact spot fishing, but one person could be just doing shallow, one person could be doing way deep to catch something different, so we can all be at a different stage, so we're not always at the same stage, so what is it we use? There's so much out there. It's to learn how to use those things at different times.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, one pathway is not the only pathway, and we've got to learn that, because isn't the end result just to give people recovery?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what the focus needs to be.
Yeah.
And so, and you know, I think minds are opening up to that. And I have heard some people are really staunch on one thing and one thing only.
Of course.
And you know, we can't change it. But you know what? Giving that life of recovery and hearing us talk about it and this opens that mind up, and maybe they're going to see it. And the end result is, if someone that sent that message in today, she was asking you about recovery. And here's another message. How did you deal with the emotions that writing the book must have stirred up, by the way?
Well, in a lot of circumstances, I just got a lot of my past fear kind of thrown in my face, because I really did come close to some really bad spots. But there's one chapter in the book where I talk about kind of some danger that I put my daughter in. And it was, without a doubt, the hardest chapter for me to write. And I would get to the end of that chapter, and I would go back and I would destroy most of it and rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. It was all saying the same thing, but there was this hope in the back of my mind that I was going to somehow be able to make this not as big of a mistake as it was. And I finally just decided to pour it all out and say exactly how I felt during that time. And it was cathartic. I kind of wrestled my own demons. I did put my daughter in some danger. I put my whole family in danger. I could have been in jail rather than, making the pittance of money that that's part of the sad part of my big get-rich-quick scheme in this book, is the get-rich never really happened.
Yeah, you hear that? Everyone, you listen to that? and this is the thing about, you hear about all these people in recovery that talk about this. It's very interesting. The theme I get, they say, they had all this. The get rich never really happens.
No.
Even it's in the back of the mind, or it's in there, but it really never happens. That's the interesting part. I hear all these stories, but you're I kudos to you for saying that, because you don't want to say that to someone like you never, but it just doesn't happen. They have the money then, but it disappears.
Yeah, and it's not that big of money in the first place. I mean, it's a little bit of social freedom, because you don't have that schedule, you don't have that 9 to 5. But I risked not having any time to myself. I could have been sitting. My only get-rich-quick scheme could have been trying to get more cigarettes in the prison yard. That's really what my get-rich would have ended up being if I'd have gotten caught doing what I was doing. So, no, the rich never came, just the stress. Just the stress and the danger.
And so with that, we're going to play another song, but just while people are waiting. By the way, that question was from your friend Doug. I think I know who Doug is.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
And so we're going to go into the next song, but listeners, if you have any live questions, 651-313-5125, or if you have and you want to send a text in, it's 763-843-4262. That's 763-842-4262. And here we go. And we'll be taking answering another question when we get back. Ooh, what song is this?
This is Boogie,
Boogie
with
with
Stu.
Stu, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, Led Zeppelin. Oh, this is Led Zeppelin playing.
Oh, yeah. With a little bluegrass. Now, can I get a recording of this?
What?
Yes, we can send you right
Perfect.
after the show.
And then turn your mic just a little, the top part, yeah, there.
Yeah.
This song just makes me tender. That's purely why I like this song. And it's always been that. I mean, even back in high school, if I'm just having kind of a down day, put on a little Boogie with Stu.
Yes.
Life will get a little better.
Yes, I
You know?
agree.
And then, do you want me to do the disclaimer?
Yeah, this would be safe.
It's going really good.
Yeah, should we do a second song right after, and then you want me
Yeah.
to write down what song's there so you can let
Yeah.
people know?
Right here.
See, you can't help but move to Boogie with Stu.
Yes. And, you know, I just have so much hope in tomorrow that I'm feeling so blessed after having that migraine for 2 days. The pounding I have right now, it feels like nothing.
That's just me.
It's been in the shoulder, and I have this burning spot. That really bothers me, but last
Like
night...
a stinger?
Oh, it's really... It's
Oh, I know that one.
You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. You can't do anything about it.
You can't.
You can't stretch it out.
You can't do nothing.
No.
And then it goes deep. And so if I try to do a dish or brushing my teeth today, like, right? This one, it's like, oh, what did I do? But you know what? I just said, I'm feeling blessed. I just gotta be happy.
Yeah, you know, I consider myself a stoic. You know what a stoic would look at it as? Could be worse.
Yes.
The stoic wakes up on this side of the grass and says, it's a good day.
Yes.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Because you could have been on the other side
Yes.
of the grass.
And for a while, it was getting me down because I was really struggling. I was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Mahana, after my neck surgery, just a few months after my neck surgery, then I blew out my knee and shattered my tibia.
Yeah, because you were.
And I could hardly walk. I was walking with a walker and a cane, if I was able to walk with a cane. And I had gained up to 320 pounds. And so I was actually at a point where I was ready to give up. It gets better. This was, I mean, I was sober when all this happened. But it does, it gets better. You just keep working towards it. Now I don't have those stingers anymore. It took a long time.
Yeah, and so I think the Botox is gonna help a lot of that. Because and then like my fingers don't snap at the same time, so it's like disastrous.
Yeah.
Talking text is amazing.
What's
But
that?
Using my phone and talking and texting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to text?
Yeah.
I love their little chuckle at the end here.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot more about smart recovery in other places. Plus, my certified support.
Okay, we're
Oh,
back,
that's right.
remember?
Yeah.
Fumbling with the blues.
Two dead ends and you still got to choose.
It's just inspiration.
Right there, Shyster. That's as
So I
dirty as
stayed
it all
behind
gets.
yesterday and talked to a couple of people I knew from Grand Rapids, and
Oh, yeah?
I'm trying to think of his name now. He took my information. I kept saying his name wrong. It wasn't JC.
Yeah, when you were saying DC, I'm like, I don't know.
No, you know him. He's the one with the beard. Wears a like keychain things. Little tape.
It's like Ken?
Ken, yes.
Okay, Milkman.
Yeah, milkman.
That's
Yes,
what they
it
call
carries
him.
milk everywhere.
Yes,
A little different.
Yes, very
Very, very.
good guy though.
Yeah. But the guy he was with also knew me. He couldn't remember. Then he figured out what it was because there was a situation where I was involved in that he was in like. He's like, oh no, I don't do it.
15.
So it might still be slick.
So it's like all the way here.
We
Take
didn't
you a little
know
longer?
until we saw people in the ditch.
Well, I didn't know.
So I don't know how long it was.
I didn't even know it was snow till I woke up.
Yeah, no, I've been up. I had to shovel the car early. But no, I
Shovel
didn't
the
realize
car.
the
That's,
freeway.
that's a bad statement.
Oh,
That's a
that's how it
Minnesota
feels.
statement to the
Yes.
core. I had to shovel my car.
Yep.
Only in the
Again.
car.
Go away. Shoveled it the other day.
Nice music there. So go ahead, tell us a little about those selections.
Oh, Boogie with Stew by Zeppelin. That's always been my go-to when I'm having a down day. It's just one that you can't help but tap your feet to. If you're not moving to Boogie with Stew, you might want to check your pulse. It's pretty much
Yeah, I was kinda down
you're
there.
either with it or you're not with it at all. But Fumbling with the Blues, okay, there's a little part of me that you never hear Tom Waits on the radio, so I thought I'd make sure he got played today.
Nice.
But two dead ends and you still got to choose is one of the best lines in musical history, I think. So, no, I really love Tom Waits, and I love a lot of his music, and it almost sounds like he's describing me before I got sober. My bartender was my best friend.
Well, that's good. Hey, and another listener, by the way, listeners, if you want to send a call in or text message in, 651-313-5125 or 763-843-4262. So here's another message. In writing your book, I'm sure you made many revelations that even people close to you were unaware of. Situations, dangers, etc. Were there any revelations that you particularly hard for you, those closest to you, to accept?
I don't know. Maybe Sue would be the one to answer closer, hardest to accept.
She's
She's shaking her head.
She's shaking her head no. She spoke a little bit. She's like, I get it. And you know what? Respect.
I'm good.
She's good. Well, so it goes back to you, Steve. So, yeah, because really, when you're writing this, it's like the part about your daughter you were saying.
Yeah.
That took a lot of work out of you.
Yeah, that was tough to. I mean, it was hard to admit it to myself.
Yeah, because you're having like deal with writing it.
And then to realize that I'm actually putting this on paper so that other people can read what a schmuck I was.
Yeah, like a
You know,
smart.
that's.
You were very good. But you know, I respect you for that because not a lot of people sugarcoat. You didn't sure.
No, I kind of blasted it between the eyes.
Yeah, you were like a jerk. So
Thank you very little, Bob.
and yeah, very little. And you would think that of Steve, no? So, and this is the whole point. This book is good reading. So if you need some good reading, and you want some real reading, this is a good book about recovery. Because a lot of books about recovery tell you what to do and how to do it, and this book just tells you his story. Then talks about his smart recovery and how that helped him save his life. It's not saying you have to do smart recovery, but it gives you a choice and option how that works for someone. So it's a way to inspire yourself. So think that way if you're looking for a book or want someone to have a book. So just remember, Inspirational Dissatisfaction is a great book to read, and it's got some good reading. We're talking about 300, like over 300 pages. It's 300 and almost. It's actually 400 pages. It's 400 and right on the border. It's 400 and let's see, 402. Wait, Find Your Path is the last page. It says that.
Yep, that's
So-
the last sentence in the entire book.
Yeah, I
Find
love
your
it.
path.
Page 402 says "Find Your Path." See how simple is that? And then you know look at this. He's lost 70 pounds since this picture.
Yeah, that's a fat picture.
Yeah, no, you're not
Overweight,
fat.
overweight,
We use
excuse me.
overweight. We use polite words here, but
Pretty
you were
happy and,
yes,
and tempting.
and that's why I said you were a jerk. Okay. So, but yeah, but what made it difficult? Someone called. If you called, you can call. The number is 651-313-5125 if you call me. It's a missed call for a listener. Just to mention that. Or it could have been one of those calls that were not meant for the show. I'm just throwing that out there. But so to answer that for the listener, I just want to make sure we do answer that. So the situations of danger, etc., they were any revelations that were particularly hard for those closest to you to accept. Or did she already know all that? She already knew that you were. That's probably why it's like you got changed. Or
It was pretty out there. I mean, everybody that I wrote about in the book knew where I was, knew where I was in my life and what I was doing. I guess one of the biggest realizations that kind of hit me between the eyes is how much I had sugar-coated everything to myself, not to other people, but to myself. I mean, this all started with trimming marijuana out in California, and then became me running drugs back, or not drugs, specifically marijuana back to Minnesota, and then turning it into candies and selling all this stuff. And to me, it was all legitimate. It was all just a means to a better end. It was the get-rich-quick scheme without the rich, but that was always on the horizon. And the big revelation was it was never on the horizon, and I never let myself see that, even though it was pretty glaringly obvious.
Hey, let me just do my reading real quickly. WFNU is a volunteer-run station made up of many different community voices. Each program expresses one aspect of its diversity and not the view of WFNU or FTI as a whole. So these are my opinions. And then we only have like 7 or 8 minutes left, less than that actually. So we are not going to get back to your state of mind, or maybe we'll get one song in, right? No. Are we? Okay. So which song do you want, State of Mind or Life During the Wartime?
Oh boy, that's a tough call, but I'm going to go with State of Mind.
Okay. And we're going to start out with State of
State
Mind.
of my head.
State of My Head. And we'll have to have you back here and talk more about how your recovery continues. We like doing that. We'll have that next week, someone coming in for that.
Concrete street skill.
Up a little.
More?
Up a little. Oh yeah, that's good.
Wearing my shine down shirt.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that this morning.
Yeah.
You were wearing shine down. I almost threw on my Tom Waits
It's a
shirt.
subconscious thing. I have my shine down shirt on. I didn't even think that I was going to be playing the song. I just like the shirt.
That was my first sober concert with her.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Shine Down and Godspank. It was a good show.
Yeah.
And I actually remember it all.
Yeah.
Kind of awkward though.
Yeah.
Does everybody else think so?
Well, it's good that you guys do things like that. So, how's things? Did you have your knee surgery, right?
I had my meniscus repair surgery,
Okay.
but then they told me I needed to get the full knee replaced. I haven't done that.
Okay. And how did you had complications with your insurance or something, or?
Yeah, and I ended up with a lawsuit with my former employer, and we won. I didn't get as much as I needed, but at least we won.
Yeah.
A little vindication. But my doctor told me every pound you lose is 8 pounds of pressure you take off your knee every time you step. So that was a big gap
So it's
for
helped
me
you
to
out.
say, you know what? I'm just taking the weight off the top of it, and I don't know how many need to do
You feel a lot better?
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, like I said, I was in a walker, or using a walker a year and 3 months ago.
Wow.
And now I'm walking 15,000 steps a day. Hauling furniture.
Steps. It was like jumping up.
Hauling furniture onto trucks.
I'm trouble lifting a big books.
Oh, my
The waters I brought up, I was like, here, do you want the water? So I had to lift the water.
Oh, no. I told you I'll bring it.
No, I know, but it's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's a simple things like that. It's crazy.
Oh, that's our alarm.
Well, we're having such a good time here, laughing and enjoying ourselves. I just, that's all I can say. Now tell me about that song, because got us all like excited back here talking about things. And hey, we do behind the scenes, so of course I'm trying to turn to it, but I'm not, because it's going to start to cause my neck to hurt even more right now. But we're laughing about pain and all this other stuff. You know, what a joyous day it is. So, Steve, I just want to say, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brad.
We have, 2 minutes left, Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
And I talk freely on the show. You know, some of these DJs have it all in place and planned. I'll get better as time goes. Once I get the injections and I turn my neck, I don't go blind because I see little stars. And literally, that's what happens. But hey, I get through a show. That's the amazing part. We have recovery. Recovery is here. We're blessed. And do you have any closing things before we go? And then Bridge has a couple quick announcements.
No, just I'll repeat the last page of my book, Find Your Path.
Find your path, everyone. Hey, good reading, inspirational to satisfaction. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Worthy reading. Get it as a gift for someone. And you know what? It supports someone in recovery. And by the way, this is not telling you what you have to do. This is just good reading, and it's honest reading. And then at the very end, find your own path.
If I can say one last
Yeah.
thing. If you do decide to go through Amazon, if you type in Inspirational Dissatisfaction, you will not find my book. You have to put Inspirational Dissatisfaction book, because their algorithms will give you everything about inspiration and everything about dissatisfaction, but you got to put book behind Inspirational Dissatisfaction to find it there. So.
And Bridge, would you like to make an announcement talking about family?
I just thought it'd be beneficial for family support of people in recovery. So there's Thrive Family Recovery Resources.org. They're having a virtual workshop coming up
Oh, cool.
starting the 7th, February 7th, and they're doing it weekly. So the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. And I really love Thrive. They really are right there supporting the family as they're supporting us, peoples in recovery.
That is so awesome. So you hear that, everybody? Join in Thrive, and we have to go. It's February 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and we'll have more next week on that. And Ashley will be our guest next week, and it's her follow-up. And you guys, it's going to be exciting and joy. She's been our guest, and she's going to bring her son, and it's her what's that called?
Reunite?
Family reunification, and she gets to talk about that in her recovery. And have a great Sunday, everyone.
Is working with light
We
industrial
made it.
manufacturing companies.
Yeah.
Staffing offers weekly pay.
I was looking at that and looked at the wrong thing.
More information can be found at atlasstaffinginc.com.
Okay.
Everyone said it sounds like we're having a blast here. Yeah, yeah. Great interview. Sounds like you guys are having fun.
Thank you, guys.
You guys
Yeah,
did well.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I notice sometimes guests get the deer in the lights look. That's how you guys are fine.
Yeah.
You did a great
No,
job.
once I vomited, I was good.
You know, next time we're gonna within the first like 7 minutes, I'm gonna start playing a song. I'm gonna learn that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could set little.
We're gonna create. Yeah, I'm gonna create a little
so we
bit.
get all the
Yeah.
songs in.
Yes. We got talking so much into the whole. Yeah.
Ironically, it was Talking Heads. We didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had some. I had great questions too.
Yes.
I mean, do you know Ashley?
The
Right.
name.
You know that Ashley that sent the message?
She's from MRC, isn't she?
No.
Who am I thinking?
No, it's someone I didn't know. It's someone that's new.
Okay.
She just said my name is Ashley, and then this other person, I don't know.